Hello there, back again with another signature for the album that I'm creating using the papers that are out of the collection Land of the Rising Sun. Now I'm doing this for Scrap and Create. They are an online store. So if you have not checked them out or gone over and signed up for their blog, you should do so. That way when new papers posts, then you're going to get notified ahead of everybody else. Now this is what I've put together. This is my base page, and then I'm going to have two flaps on the page. But let's start with this. So this base page is measuring in at 7 1/4 across, and then it's measuring in at 8 3/8 in its height. I do have a pocket. The pocket measures 2 1/8 by 8 3/8, and I have backed it with a die that I have. And I went to my scraps and I pulled out this piece, and I'm going to glue it on, tape this on. I need to put tape on that. And then I'm going to attach this to the pocket as a element. So what I need to do here first is get some tape put on this. Silly me, I try to have all this done. I don't think you need to watch me put tape on stuff. Okay. Let's give this a nice little burnish. We're almost through with this album. We have just a couple more signatures to go. And I must say that this collection has been interesting for me personally to work with. It's a little out of my wheelhouse, but I think I'm getting it done. Besides all the odd measurements due to the size I chose to make this album because of the element that ended up being on the front of the album. So it just gives you something of a challenge. Okay, so this is going to come in here like so. Now I don't want to put glue here because I don't want to glue this down. So I'm going to kind of pinch it right here. And then I'm going to glue opposite of my pinch. Okay, got it. Put this back down. And I just want to make sure that I didn't get any glue underneath there. Very good. I'm winning so far. It's kind of muggy here, so I'm going to cap off my glue so it doesn't dry. All right, so the next piece we're going to work on is the flap. Now this flap measures 5 1/4 across with a 1/2 inch score. And I am just going to slide this right here on the back. I generally will stand this page up straight straight to make sure that my paper is butted up next to it, so that I know I've got the right placement. Now I chose, out of the 8 by 8 pad, I chose this piece of paper. There are two. You're going to want to pull both of them out because we're going to repeat the same process over here on the left panel. Now, because of the height of this album, again, we are going to be short on the ends. So what I've done is I've just cut a couple of patterned pieces. You can cut whatever patterned pieces you want. And I'm just going to fill the gap by putting it here on the ends. So I'm going to go ahead and get this glued in. I hate this when I turn it over and then I see something that's really pretty. What does the other side look like? Oh, you know what? I'm going to turn them over. Ah! Crazy me, I like this. But let's see, so if I put this down here and I put this up here, is that going to work? Or do I turn them over and play off the centerpiece? No, I think I like this better. I need to fill in the gap. You can use whatever scraps you want to use, but I think I'm going to stick with what I planned here. But I am going to turn this over because I do like this pattern cut. And I want to be kind of careful with the seam. Make sure I'm not getting on top of it. I kind of like that. Do I have enough? No, I don't. I'll stick with what I have. Besides, that goes to another piece. Okay. So I'm just going to come down here just a little bit above the bottom of the page so I can see some of the red cardstock. Just want to see a little bit of that red cardstock. Okay, so that piece side is done. Now we have this side. I am going to stick with this side because I'd like to have a blank page. You know, you can put photos on this. It would be beautiful to have the backdrop, but I would like to have a piece here. This is also out of the 8 by 8. You'll need to have two. This is a nice clean piece for putting photos. We are going to add a pocket to this side. Oh, do these go here? No. Oh, interesting. Where did these go? Oh, they don't. Maybe I just didn't cut them the right length. It's possible. It's what I do. Silly me. Now let's add just a little bit of ink on the end to get rid of the white edge. I just do not like white edges. Okay. And I'm probably going to have to trim this as well. No big deal. Just get it in here the right way. Just a hair off of the edge up there. Okay, so what I want to put in here is a tuck, and the way I have it set is that the tuck, you'll be coming in from this side. You can do whichever direction. You can put it over here so it comes in from this side. But I'm putting it here so that when you're closing the page or opening the page, hopefully things will stay in place better if I put the tuck on this side. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm only taping down one side, which is the edge. Doesn't need to have a whole lot of tape on it. Okay, so we've got that one done. Oh gosh, excuse me. Okay, so let's go to the other side. So once again, this flap is going to measure in, this one is going to measure in at 5 3/4 by the 8 3/8, and you're going to have a 1/2 inch score. So I'm going to put this in place. I'm going to make sure that's snuggled up in there. And then I'll put it down. Okay, so for this one, here's the other half. And I want these to be the same. I want them to be matching. I want it to look like it's kind of carrying over. So let's go ahead and put this. I'm using an image similar to this. That's why I'm not using this side. Again, I do want to have some nice clean pages for a tuck and for photos. Or journaling, because this, the reverse side to this would make for good journaling. And I'm not too worried about how much room I have here versus here because I'm putting in these strips to fill that gap anyway. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom, just a fraction up above the red cardstock, and that's just a bit long, so let's snip it. I'm not going to put ink on it now that I've got it glued down. It's a little tiny piece, it won't be noticed, but let's just double check this one. Yeah, it just does need to come off of there just a smidgen. And this one I will put some black ink on it. Okay, so slide that in place. And then here is another tuck. And again, I'm tucking, I've taped and tucked from this side. And I'm going to line these two up so that they're not like this or way down here. I'm going to line the two up. I'm going to come in about 1/4 of an inch, up about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm just going to set it down. So now you have a nice tuck that will come in from this side, and then on this one you have a tuck coming in on this side. You've got a spot for a small photo or even for some dedicated journaling on this piece here. And if you use a dark pen, you could do the same thing, or again, you could put in a really small photo right there. Now, we're going to work on the inner piece. It is exactly the mirror image of this one over here. Now, if you decided to go ahead and use this particular side, that's okay. It's your album. And make sure that these are set at the right length. Okay. I just would like everything to kind of tie together. These little strips tie this in. So just come down here a fraction of an inch above. Oh, I kind of cut that short, or I got it set wrong. Got it set wrong. And then we'll do the same up on the top. And I will apologize in advance if this album is driving you crazy. I didn't cut that piece long enough. It won't work for me. So I'm going to cut a piece that will fit better. And then I'm going to line this up on my 1/2 inch line. I use washi tape to hold it in place when I'm cutting such small pieces. And then we're going to ink it real quick. And then I'll glue this back into place. Much, much better fit. Okay, so these are your two flaps, and again, you can use the reverse side if that's what you choose. You can also use different strips as your filler. That's entirely up to you. But now we're going to work on our left and our right side flaps. Tearing things apart here. Okay, let's start with our right side flap. The right side flap is going to be 7 by 8 3/8. Then I want you to score it at 1/2 and then score it at 5/8. Okay, and then we're going to put this on here, and that 5/8 of an inch gusset is going to help absorb this edge here so that the page will lay nice and flat. So to do that, we're also going to come right up to that score line. If this had been a 1/4 inch score, we would not be lining up to the very edge. It'd be somewhat more in the middle. Okay, so we got this piece in there. I'm going to push back on this. I want to re-encourage that score line, I mean. Now, your left side panel is going to measure 6 1/4 by the 8 3/8. And once again, you're going to, it's going to go to the inside. We're going to come up to that score line once more. I'm going to butt up next to that, and then I'm going to lay it down. Okay. Push back. Now here's where we want to put our magnets. And I'm going to put 2, top and bottom, so that it will carry the weight just a little bit better. These taller pages, I personally think, need to have a little extra help. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I am going to put this one right here. And then we're going to put this one right here. And then I'm going to fold, when I fold this over, I want to make sure that, I just saw something, that my tops and my bottoms are even. But I just saw I need to trim this a little bit. Don't like that black hanging over the edge. I know what I need to do here. Come on, let go. Just gonna give that a little bit of a trim. And it looks like I need to do the same here. I thought I had trimmed these to the right length, but it's obvious I missed it by just fractions of an inch. I love my Fiskars tool there. Okay, so the magnets are in place. Capturing my clips there. All right, so on the inside of your left panel, there is a separate piece that you will trim up just a little bit, but it has the dragon on it. That's going to go over here on this side. I just saw something. Is that what I think? Oh, that is an 1/8. Gosh. Okay. I forgot to tell you what to do there. I didn't write it down. I've been trying to change how I do things. When you cut this at 6 1/4, you're going to score it at 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 5/8. I apologize. And that would be the same here. When you cut this at 7 inches across, you're going to have a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 of an inch score. Okay. So he's going to go, this piece is going to fit in here. You'll just need to trim it to fit. I've got myself rattled. Now that I've forgotten to give you those score marks, I've got myself a little bit rattled. He fits to the inside. I apologize. He's going to sit right in here. Now, I'm not dealing with any magnets on this side, so I'm safe enough to go ahead and glue this piece of paper in. And it did come out of the, it looks like possibly the 12 by 12s. because of the size of the cards and the size of the image. It fits the 8 and an 1/8 height, so it came out of the 12 by 12s. You'll just end up trimming it to fit your page a little bit. Okay, so that piece is done. Now, off that same 12 by 12, these were like this, we have this piece that you will cut to fit, and it will go over here on this side. Now, I have magnets here. I will tape this one down. Little dab in the middle just so that it helps me to place the page before I commit the rest of the tape. Now on this side, I am going to make a little bit of a pocket. It's a decent size page. So I made a trim here. I'm using a piece, a scrap piece, and mounted it on the red cardstock, and I am going to just simply tape it in. Oh, you know what? When I get done here, I'll give you the measurements. I just like to move on. I'm so sorry. I'm just such a dodo sometimes. This is in at 3 inches by 3.5 inches. And I'm just going to center it right here in the middle of the page. And then I used one of the cards, mounted it on black cardstock, and it just tucks right in. You still have a spot for photos, or you can do some journaling up there. So this is what you have so far on the inside. Okay. Now, you have another 12 by 12 piece that has these elements on them. All right, this one sits up higher. So on this one, you are going to cut the pattern right to left so that you're at about 6.5 inches. And this is going to be pretty close to the bottom of that page. And then this piece here, you're going to cut the pattern top to bottom so that you can get in this Chinese lantern. And then you'll cut it across to fit. All right. Now I've gone ahead and fussy cut this out. I've mounted it on black cardstock. I'm raising it up on some pop-ups. And I'm just going to slide that right back here in that spot so there's a little bit of lift and element on this page. I'm going to tape the rest of this down because of the magnets. On this piece, I went and trimmed her out. I have mounted her on to some, on this one, some cards leftover chipboard. And I'm going to raise her up. I'm going to tape everything. I'm going to glue down around the edges of both elements. and I will put these down. So I'm going to start with this one. I think I could probably tape this whole thing. Or, I mean, glue this whole thing. This is the critical part. I don't want this lifting. Just going to set this down here very gently. Pull it down just a hair. Okay, and then we're going to put glue on the back here. I found some little pieces of chipboard and I thought I'd use them up. Her little feet. Okay, starting with her feet, I'm going to lay this right back in place. And now we have a nice raised element on this flap. So we're going to get in here and I'm going to tape a good portion of this side. And I would like to not have to glue down, but trying to run tape around a corner is not the easiest, but oh, I just ran out of tape. Do I have another 1/4 inch roll here? I do. Find the beginning. There we are. I'm thinking, how can I do this? I don't want to glue this down because if I have to get in here, I don't. So what if I did this? Now I'm sure that you guys are far more skilled than I am, so if you trust your glue and your magnet placement, oh gosh, by all means, it is a challenge at best for me sometimes. I love making these things, but I can't say that I'm the most proficient at them. I just see something that I need to curve fix here. This piece is going to need to be doubled up. All right. I think I'm going to take this long center one here off. And I'm going to put this in place. I'm going to do it from the right edge and go over to the left edge. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to start peeling this stuff off the inside. Come on. I've got this stuck to my thumb here. There we go. Okay, so that is done. Now let's do this top part here. And I think that is all the tape. Now, pardon me while I come off of the video here. I want to remove all these little tops off these pop-ups. I had some small extra ones I wanted to try and use up, but they are quite tedious to pull them all off. All right, and then we're going to just be mindful of lining up to the edge. It's okay if we go over on this side, but we want to make sure that this edge is all nice and lined up. Okay, so that's done. We've got a nice raised element. I will let you know though, I don't know if you can see it, but I took some Winkostella and I went over the Japanese symbols a little bit so that there was, when you go to move it, you can catch a little bit of a sparkle. All right, so now let's go. Oh, I think we're done. We are, look at that. Okay, and I did take some Winkostella to these red flowers as well. Again, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but that's what I did. So it's time to turn it over, and we're gonna start to put our tape on the back so that we can get this loaded up in the album. I'm going to take just one long one down the center there. I gotta glue. My glue tip is drying. I gotta cover it real quick here. I apologize. There we go. All right, so now we shall grab our album. And this is going to go right here on this back page. And if you're coming right up to the edge, you should have, if you put in 1/2 inch markers, you should have approximately 1/4 inch, maybe a hair less, so that you know you're not coming in on this seam and that you've given this 1/8 inch room to turn. So I'm going to turn it this way and take the middle piece out. Make sure it's sitting up the right way, and I'm going to go top to bottom, right on the edge. Make sure I've got myself centered. Oh, I just moved. Ah. Okay, let's get in here and take some of this tape out of here. And I'm pushing back on this gusset to make sure that it is standing up straight. And there you have it. Okay, we will be coming back on the next video to do the next signature. I just want to give this a good burnish. And we'll be pretty close to being done. We just have this signature and this one to go. So I hope you'll return, and I'll see you then.